Hi, this is Stephen Van Kampen-Lewis. It's May 17. It's, in the afternoon, as usual. It's pretty warm. We are rapidly leaving spring and getting well into summer here. Probably, it looks like the forecast is mostly for highs in the 90s next week, and lots of sun. So, I wanted to make a video, but some folks online were asking how is it that you create hangers for your catasetums. And, I saw that and I was like, well, I'll just go on YouTube and find the Brazilian videos that that sort of inspired me or showed me how to make the plant hangers, and I was unable to find them. I guess I don't spend that much time on YouTube, and so basically what I did was I typed in PET Catasetum, and when I made my first PET video about a year and a half ago, it was the first English version one, but I could find a bunch of Brazilian ones. Now, I guess there's so many people that have made PET videos of their own that I couldn't find any of the Brazilian ones. So instead of simply posting on this Facebook question, the video that I had seen that inspired me, I guess I'll make my own. So let me show you what I mean by a hanger. So this. I attach mine to 3 locations on each pot. And what I do is, the same method that I use to burn the holes down here, which is just a red hot electric soldering iron. So I'll poke the holes down here when I make these pots, and then I'll poke the holes up here as well at 3 locations. And this is a Catasetum Black Knight, and the newest growth is looking pretty good. Looks like I've got a bloom spike just starting to develop. And, I'll have to look for roots on this one to see when I can start watering. But I assume it's actually not for a while. These bulbs are a little shriveled, but the back bulbs are really big and fat. So I'll just let this one keep going. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you how to make this. So, I am not a wealthy person, so I try to make things as cheaply and as efficiently as possible, I guess. And so in order to make these wires, I have found a few useful items: a small piece of PVC, a wire bender. You can use pliers or whatever you have around the house, a wire cutter, as you can imagine. Wire seems pretty important for this task. Or this. So if you're like me and you have a lot of catasetums, going to your local hardware store and buying something like this makes sense. But if you only have a few, this is another good way to do it. I have no problems with this. This stuff this is a little thinner than this stuff, but they both work pretty well. And of course, as you can imagine, the hooks. And the hooks are also very cheap and readily available at your local hardware store. So, it's actually a pretty simple deal. I am not a mechanical person. I don't make things very well. I grow things. I don't make things. So the fact that I can do this means that anyone watching this can do this. And what I like to do is I get about an arm's length of wire. So I'm 6'1", so I get about 6 feet of wire in my arm's length. And as you can imagine, I cut it, put the wire over there, and just kind of stretch it out so it's not so bendy anymore, rather than being as circular as the loop itself. I simply kind of stretch it out. It doesn't have to look pretty. And then I go like this. And I stretch this, and I wrap one loop on this side and one loop on this side. Kind of pull it tight. Get these loops kind of close together. And so we are now most of the way there. So we have two lines here. You know, this is a little off, but we can trim this at the end. So I'll put that aside. The next thing I want to do is pull out another bit of wire that's about the same length as those ones there, plus an inch, well, yeah, plus about an inch. So let's pull this out here. Measure, add a couple, you know, maybe add about that much extra. It's not a whole lot. I want it to be about the same length as basically the shortest one. And of course, I'm gonna cut it. So, at this point, we have these sort of unruly wires, but with, you know, kind of a direction of where we're going. And then we have this extra wire, it's just a wire. And then we kind of stick it up here like this. Do you see? It's actually through there. And then we take our pliers and bend it around. And sort of, you can see I'm starting to loop it. Starting to put this third, or I guess it's the second wire, through the loop. And keep wrapping. And so there's a couple reasons why this extra wire is helpful. You know, as you can imagine, I mean, I'm trying to have 3 points on my pot, so I have 3 points. I now have 3 places to attach this piece of wire to my PET pot. But I've also bent this around so it kind of holds this in place. It kind of squishes it together and helps keep this loop in a shape that I want. And like I said, I'm not a handy person. I'm sure there are lots of you out there who can take this and make it attractive. You know, I guess I'm kind of a function over form kind of a guy. And you know, you can see at the end here, I've got this extra piece here. So I'll just cut that off. And voila. So this is not quite the last step. You know, I want to bend these up so that when I put them into the 3 holes of the pot, they'll stay that way. And so I just take these, which are, like I said, all about the same length, and take my pliers, and bend them all at about the same length. And so now I can hook these onto the side of my pot. I can go from, you know, just some wire to a loop into the orchid pot, which will hang like this. And then I will take my little S-hook here, and now can hang on, you know, whatever fits here. So, you know, I've got like a little, I guess sort of a shelving unit that I've put on its side. When I get the Catasetums out for the growing season, I'll probably make a video about that. And I'm looking at it right now. And then they just hang there pretty much all summer. So that's it. Now, I feel kind of bad for making kind of a boring video, but sometimes orchid growing is not super snazzy. But I do have a few flowers to show you for those of you who have stuck around. This is a little Catasetum shunkii. This is an import that I got from Tarzan Orchids some time back. I guess I got it a year or so ago. I think he gets, and I've mentioned this in other videos, I think he gets his Catasetum shunkii as imports and turns them around and sells them immediately. So be prepared to sort of, well, look at my last video where I talk about importing Catasetums. But this is a cute little thing. It's you can see that it grew during the winter, so it's kind of off season. It does have a new little growth here. I'm gonna have to figure out how I want to repot this, since as you can see the new growth is significantly higher than the media here. But I don't know, it's a cute little thing. As far as this species goes, it's nothing special. It's a little drab. It's also a first bloom, so we'll see if it perks up next year. It's also a first bloom on an import, so it could be a little stressed. But we'll see. If it doesn't perk up in terms of color on this next growth, I'll probably sell it. I've got a few others inside the greenhouse. They're a little nicer. Another plant here, this is a Cattleya. This is Cattleya Sea Breeze. This is a clone of Felrath's Pride. And Felrath's Pride has an award. I don't recall exactly what it is, but Sea Breeze is a primary hybrid between Labiata and Walkeriana, and this is a Cerulean version. And it's also a first bloom. It is a really large plant, and I don't understand why it's blooming for me for the first time now. I mean, I grow, Cattleya labiata is not a super difficult one to grow. Walkeriana I grow just fine. This guy really took a sweet time in blooming, but I've got 3 spikes coming out with 5 flowers, it looks like. You can see that Felrath's Pride is a Cerulean. It has, I guess, both parents are Cerulean. But yeah, it's a cute little thing for first bloom. I'm hoping that, you can see the petals here are sort of falling forward. I hope that is not a trait that sticks around and something that goes away and becomes more open on subsequent bloomings. So anyway, that's this week's video. Let me know if you have any comments or questions in, of course, the comment section. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.